My name is Cameron Clark, and I am a clinical neuropsychologist in private practice here in Calgary. Relevant to my idea here for the 2020 NeuroNexus Challenge, as part of my private practice, I deliver group-based courses to healthy, aging older adults about how memory changes as we age and what we can do to help improve memory, which has gotten me thinking about some creative solutions to common memory problems. The problem that I want to focus on here is that memory is essentially a perishable skill, both normatively over the lifespan, but also certainly in response to neurological insult or injury, like traumatic brain injury or neurodegenerative processes like Alzheimer's disease. Some types of memory are impacted more than others. For example, immediate memory and recent memory might be more heavily impacted by the normal aging process than remote memory. But what's interesting is that these changes in memory start as early as our mid-20s, which puts all of us kind of in the same boat of declining memory over the lifespan. What solutions do we have for memory? Well, I like to say that there are imperfect solutions and ancient strategies that exist. So for example, some of the things that I would teach in my course on memory and aging would be to write down information that you need to remember, forming habits, so in order to keep track of your keys, glasses, cell phone, that kind of thing. Make an association with the new piece of information that you want to remember, or practice recalling the thing that you need to remember. I always feel a little bit apologetic at this point in my course when I talk about these memory strategies, because somehow they seem common sense, they seem banal, and they seem a little bit stale. And in fact, I found a quote from Aristotle dated to 350 BC, in which he said, "Exercise in repeatedly recalling a thing strengthens the memory of that thing." So 2,370 years later, I think we can do a little bit better. It's also true, though, that some of the most pressing memory challenges we face are those that we don't have the opportunity to write things down or rehearse the information in any meaningful way. So this is the case with the most common memory difficulty I hear about, which is remembering the name of a new person introduced in conversation in a social setting. So it certainly isn't appropriate to stop a conversation to write a name down. And if we don't write the name down, by the time we cue ourselves to remember that person's name in conversation, we've probably already covered 3 or 4 different topics. So something that can be helpful here is what's known as spaced retrieval. So this isn't new, but it's a process by which meaningful information is recalled at longer and longer time intervals, which essentially uses successful retrieval instances at shorter intervals to consolidate the new information in longer-term memory. So this strategy works, but there's a problem. So if your memory is strong enough to recall information at longer and longer irregular intervals, it's very likely the case that your memory was strong enough to remember the information that you were trying to apply this strategy to in the first place. So a solution, I think, is memory on hand. So a simple wrist-based tactile device to augment in situ memory consolidation and retrieval. So what I'm imagining here is a single button module that could attach to a standard silicone cause bracelet. And a single button press might initiate a haptic vibrational space retrieval schedule for say 6 hours. And a long press could cancel that schedule. So wearing one of these devices, people could discreetly press the single button when they want to remember a piece of information, like the name of someone they're introduced to, and when they don't have access to material to write it down or the time to rehearse it. So why couldn't this just be an app for an Apple Watch? Well, it absolutely could, but the problem there is that the people who need this technology are not necessarily the same group of people that have access to an Apple Watch. So I'm thinking that this could be much more widely adopted as a single-use, very inexpensive device. So what are the benefits to the innovators? As you can tell, memory on hand, as I like to call it, is very much in the idea phase. So what it lacks in immediate application or profitability, it certainly makes up for in opportunities for research and optimization. As a clinician researcher, I'd love to research optimal space retrieval timings and settings with different populations. So what's the optimal time for healthy aging older adults, or people with mild cognitive impairment, or with dementia, or with brain injury, or with stroke? Those are all interesting questions that I'd like the answer to. In my ideal world, I'd like to see more people wearing these devices than there were wearing yellow Livestrong bracelets in the Lance Armstrong era. So there's definitely potential for commercialization, and I also suspect that there would be a strong demand for a product like this if we can demonstrate that it's helpful in any way, shape, or form. I'm new to this game, so I'm certainly open to entertaining any offers for sharing intellectual property rights. Many thanks for your time, and certainly don't hesitate to get in touch by email with all the questions that you have about this project. Thanks so much.